But I want to switch from NCAA basketball because that will start really in earnest next week. It's back to the NFL, but not what our usual topics would be. So the NFL Combine is happening now in Indianapolis, not too far from where you are sitting at Carver Arena in the middle of the floor. And the NFL Combine to me is ridiculous. It is ridiculous that it's on television. It's ridiculous that you could bet on the NFL Combine now. And I really, as a fan, do not need to give a shit about how big Will Levis's hands are or anything like that. And I think it's great because all over Twitter this weekend was how many records were being broken at the combine. And a lot of them by players who maybe aren't going to have any impact in the NFL at all. But it's about coaching to me. And since you are a former coach, I want to ask you, as somebody on this show who has said, you know, when your team doesn't have it, all of these coaches and scouts that go to the NFL combine, are they really learning anything by watching these guys basically do a decathlon?
It's tough to say because I've never been in that position, but especially where the margin between a 4.540 and a 4.640 is relevant, right? Because where I come from, it's not relevant. I gotta believe, I hope that it has some sort of relevance when it comes to coaching and then making a determination who they want to draft. I like you said, I don't understand from a fan's perspective why they put this on TV, right? It's like the underwear Olympics, they're I don't know or why it's even relevant. Most coaches get the information they need from watching film. That will tell them almost everything they need to know. I get if you want to have an interview with the guy one on one and get a feel for his personality, that's important. But how many times he can rep out 225, shit like that, how big his hands are, like you said, who cares? I don't care how big his hands are, right? Can he block? Yes or no? Can he tackle? Yes or no? Does he play sound assignment football? Yes or no? I mean, you can get that stuff from film.
But the way these things are staged up is they're not really giving you what it would be like on the field. So if you want to figure out if a guy can throw a button hook or an out route, you're really going to find that out on pro day or the combine. You're going to find that out when he has a bunch of defensive ends coming at him and can he throw that under pressure? Those are the types of things you can't figure out. The example of it to me this week was Bryce Young. Everybody was all over, ooh, he's 5'10" and a half. And I'm thinking, can you not tell that by looking at him on the television screen compared to all the other players that he's playing around? He's easily the smallest guy on the field. And our coach is really learning something about him with that. And they're saying, well, he's undersized. Well, no shit, he's undersized. But what does that mean for him as an NFL prospect? You already knew he was short. You already knew he was small framed coming in. And yet somehow he's still going to get picked in the first round because he's a quarterback. And to me, finding out how tall he was, hey, if he was 6 foot, would it really change anything?
Yeah, if the first time you found out how tall Bryce Young really was at the combine, you should be fired.
Thank you.
My
Thank you.
goodness. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. And I don't know. I'm assuming that Alabama listed him as like
6 foot.
6 foot or 6'1" or something in their program. But they know that people do that. They've always done that. That's not a new thing. That they're always going to list them heavier than they are and taller than they are. Why? I don't know. We used to do the same thing with our high school roster. It's stupid. Like you said, they're going to show up and see how tall he is. And it's not even relevant because it's not like you're watching him throw behind an offensive line. He's not under a pass rush at all. It's not going to tell you anything you need to know.
I just feel like we have gotten to this point with football. And do not get me wrong, listeners. I love football. We love the game of football here on this show. We talk about it all the time. And the news landscape, they're trying to make football a 365-day-a-year sport with all the news that is circulating. And I feel like the combine is just another one of those things. And while the draft is not quite on this level because I think that the first day of the draft is at least fun to watch. The combine is useless to me as a viewer. It's useless to me as a fan. And it's for the people that are really in deep in making these decisions. And I think that the added part of it now where you can bet, the sports book has the NFL combine on there to bet things like 40 time. What are we doing?
Do you know how long have they had the combine? Do you know when it started?
I don't know. It's been long enough that it at least has caught traction, and it's been in Indianapolis for a long time. I just don't know
Right.
when they started it. I mean, obviously these NFL coaches have to have some way to differentiate these guys. But as you said, there is tape on these guys. And the combine is not really like you're only there if you're invited. Not every player gets a chance to showcase. Stetson Bennett, two-time national champion. We know what he was in college, but I think you and I could look at Stetson Bennett and be like, he's a career backup. No shade at Stetson Bennett, but when you're looking at his skill set, the way that he is built and what the NFL generally demands at that position, he's probably not going to be able to make it with the guys, especially at his age. He's what, 27 or 28, and he runs a 4.740, which is a great time for a quarterback. Does that mean he's going to be a better prospect? I thought it was great. People in the comments on Facebook, he's going to make a great 7th round pick. Then why the fuck is he at the combine in the first place?
Right. I saw a image online that said Stetson Bennett ran the fastest 40 time by a 45-year-old at the NFL Combine or something. But
Right. But like Anthony Richardson, probably going to be the number one pick in the draft. He seems to be blowing everybody away with his skill set. And they talked about these records that he broke at the combine, and they showed all the other players that were around him with these records. Not a one of them guys on the list has even been to a Super Bowl, let alone has made a real impact on a team. And this is something I'm getting very fired up about all of a sudden because it's wasting space in my brain. Like I can't even believe we're talking about it right now.
well, I feel like it was probably relevant once upon a time, like in the early 90s, when the only way that you were ever going to see somebody is if they played for a college power that was on national TV, or if their coach sent you a VHS in the mail, or you took yourself to wherever they were to physically see them in person. It maybe was possible that the first time you were exposed to somebody from Wyoming, like Josh Allen or something like that, would be at the combine. I mean, it's certainly possible that some of these guys that, you know, kind of maybe would be under the radar back then before the internet would maybe be under the radar unless they went to something like the combine to show off their skill set. Now though, with the internet and TV like it is, there you know who everyone is. You know who everyone is. Probably you know who too many people are at this point. It's impossible that there's somebody out there that you don't have the ability to watch film on almost instantly if you really wanted to.
I just had a very wonderful thought. I would love to see you just walking around the combine using as much coach speak as possible. Looking good, Steve. Great little route there. You know, just walking around talking to people, like patting them on the ass. You're not even supposed to be there. You're just sort of like, yep, everybody looks good around here. And then nobody will care because the combine doesn't matter.
I would love to do that. You think next year I should go see if I can get in?
Yeah.
I'll get some of those polyester coaching shorts from like the '70s and the striped tube socks, like the guys on Dazed and Confused, the football coaches.
No, I'm serious. Like I can just imagine you walking around being that person who's trying to act like they're cool and in the group, but nobody knows who you are. But they also don't want to awkwardly point out that you're not supposed to be there. So you're just sort of allowed to stay. And like it's kind of like when Eli went to Penn State tryouts.
Yeah, and I'm gonna carry a small tape measure around in my pocket and just go up to the players and just measure random body parts
Oh
on them and
man.
like scratch it down on my notepad.
And then the next week on the show, you come back with your list. Well, I saw that so and so from Grambling State has 6-inch fingers. I don't know what that means, but we found that out. So there you go. He's probably going to get drafted never.
Yeah, he has a 27-inch forearm, in case anyone was wondering.
That would actually be good. Like, let me ask you this. What is the most mundane body part that you could find out somebody that wouldn't tell you anything about what it's going to be for their NFL prospect future? Like ankle girth?
Um, Ankle girth, yeah, that'd probably be a good one.
I like
I don't know.
forearm.
I mean,
Forearm is good, I have to
forearm is a
admit.
good one. Forearm's a good one. Ankle girth is great. Maybe kneecap diameter.
Oh, yeah, that's good too. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
but you got to use patella diameter because you got to
There you
sound
go.
like you kind of know what you're talking about. This is where it goes.
Guys got elite patella diameter.
I like where you're headed. I think we need to do something with this next year. Maybe have our own combine, and it's the combine of misfit body parts. And all we do is talk about the things that absolutely do not matter